Hello and welcome to Point of View, where we share the stories of your favorite Pittsburghers from their point of view. Brian Carothers is the self-entitled Yinzer-in-Chief of Oneburg, dubbed Pittsburgh's largest social media network with over 400,000 followers on Facebook, and is starting a new interview show recorded entirely on the Duquesne Incline. Let's break it all down on POV. Thanks for streaming with us. I'm Avery, Jerina. Brian Carothers is a graduate of Montour High School and Point Park College, now university, a former member of the B94 morning show and others across the country. He says he jumped in the Mon on New Year's Day 3 times and wants to be Rick Seaback when he grows up. Brian, thank you so much for joining us.
Wow, Avery, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
We're so glad to have you on. So Should we go ahead and jump into some questions?
Of course.
Might as well.
Yeah, of course.
All right, so Brian, my first question to you is, how crazy do you have to be to jump into the Monongahela River not once, but 3 times?
I have done it 3 times. Now here's the thing. You wonder, how cold is it? That's the wrong question.
Okay.
The question is, how gross is it?
Yes.
Because it is equal gross and cold. You worry about the cold, but when you get in, the gross overwhelms you. It's a slippery mess of oil, and you see shoes, and you see great stuff like that. But you do have to be kind of crazy to do it, because you think about it, and then when you're there, the first time that I did it, when you're there, it's a different moment. The first time I did it, it was like 20-some degrees, and I was there with lifers. They've done it a million times, and they said, when you get in the water, you'll be disoriented, and a lot of people start swimming to the wrong side. Oh, no. And it scared me to death, thinking, oh my God, how could this be? How could it be that cold? But again, it wasn't the cold. You're so gross when you get in instantly that you almost forget about the cold. And I did survive, obviously.
Okay, well, thank goodness you did.
You should do it.
I should? Yeah, I'd probably need to get power hosed after with
Well, there's a temperature issue, because your body temperature drops, but you're so dirty. So the first year, I went home and thought, I got to get a shower right away. But your body temperature, the hot shower mixed with the cold water, you instantly start to chill out, and it's really bad. So the second year, I learned that you have to sit in the filth, which is great. Change your clothes, everybody. You have to let your body temperature adjust, so then when you get a shower, you're not dying, literally.
Gotcha.
Yeah, good tip. That's a good tip.
Yeah, I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah, you should try it.
I definitely will. I'll think about it.
Okay.
All right.
Good.
Well, in that same bio, you said that you want to be like Rick Seaback when you grow up. So what is it about him or his work that inspires you?
Well, I mean, he's the OG, right? He's number 50 on Pittsburgh's 50 top Pittsburghers of all time.
Yes.
He's an icon. He's visited, and he has documented everything. And now people turn to him for storytelling, and it's almost like if Rick's not telling it, it doesn't mean anything. He is he's the rainmaker for Pittsburgh. So if we can tell stories the same way Rick does, and people will come to Oneburg the same way they come to Rick, mission accomplished.
Might as well.
Yeah.
That is the dream, Rick Seaback.
Yeah, if he's watching, hello, Rick.
Hello, Rick.
Yeah, I think he looks better on TV than I do. I just caught a glimpse of myself, and I thought, oh my God, I'm not Seaback-esh. I'll work on it.
Well, you're also known as the Yinzer-in-Chief of Oneburg.
Yes.
So can you share what being a true Yinzer means to you?
Oh my God.
There's a lot to it.
There's a lot to that.
Yes.
One, I don't think you need to be born into it. So you're from Dallas. I think
am.
if you decide to stay in Pittsburgh, you could kind of follow the bingo card to becoming a Yinzer. So you can let your cowboy family know that they have a Yinzer in the family now. But I think what it means is it's like deep-rooted Pittsburgh pride. And if there's one thing that Pittsburghers love, it's Pittsburgh. And so it starts with, in that DNA, that everything about the area is interesting. Every person in the area is interesting. And then it goes from there. So Pittsburghers uniquely love themselves. That's where it starts, and that's where it kind of ends. Because when you go into a restaurant that's been there for 5 years, every Yinzer will say, I ate here my whole life. Yeah, I'm sure you did.
Yeah, and the city is phenomenal. The people are great. It's wonderful to meet new Yinzers every day. Yes.
Yeah, it is. And I think there's like a fabric to it as well. So I think it takes a while to get used to get into the flow of what it is. But I think that, Pittsburgh is small, it's proud, it's uniquely big in some ways. It has a lot to be proud of. I think it continually works, it progresses. And so I think truly being a Yinzer, all the pizza and fries on top of sandwiches aside, I think there's a desire for Pittsburgh to be better, and I think that's in our fabric as well, which I really like.
Absolutely. Now, Oneburg has over 400,000 followers on Facebook.
Yes.
What do you think has been the key to its success in connecting with Pittsburghers, and how do you keep the content engaging for your audience? Okay,
well, I keep my face off of it as much as I can. I think that's a big turn off. That people turn on the computer or they look at their phones and they think, oh my God, they'd rather look at Rick Seebeck, of course, right? I think the engagement has been everyone who's on the staff is from Pittsburgh or has a love for the city, so they're ingrained to it. And anyone who watches, I encourage anyone to submit, send, talk to me about what they think is interesting. And I think that's where it is. It starts with that love of Pittsburgh, and then just kind of going around and living your life here. I think that unique and interesting, funny things kind of pop up. And so while we remain Pittsburgh positive, that doesn't mean we're not Pittsburgh funny or Pittsburgh sarcastic or trying to take a little bit of slant. But why are people staying? Probably because we're going to give away free stuff.
Free stuff? Like what?
Well, you got to tune in. That's the whole thing, right? You got to keep looking and checking in every day.
Right. You'll have to check on Oneburg.
That's right. That's right.
All right. Now, you seem to have a wide variety of connections throughout Pittsburgh as well, such as Hall of Fame football players and Olympic wrestlers. What is the key to making so many connections in this city, or just in general,
Right. Well, I think that Oneburg itself is safe in nature, and not in a way that we will shelter you from anything that is going on in the world. We're not your mom. We're not trying to wrap you in a blanket. But Oneburg is a safe spot for people to be themselves. We're there to celebrate Pittsburgh, not destroy it. And so while, yes, not everyone is on the straight and narrow, not everyone is on a straight line to success, neither is Pittsburgh and neither is Oneburg. And so I think that's the number one thing that keeps people coming back is that we engage with them. And so whether you're a Hall of Famer, whether you said you're a gold medal Olympian, whether you're a musician, yes, there's a lot of hate out there. There's a lot of noise, but that's not necessarily Oneburg. We're there to promote. And so I think that starts. So we have a lot of people watching, and I think that's been our guiding principle, is to stay positive.
Yes.
Now the comment section is a different story. That's a different shade.
I've seen a few of them, yes.
Yeah, the comment section is where you lose all faith in humanity. So we try not to go in there. I want to live a longer life. I would start monitoring and reading some things, and you just go, oh my God, guys, how can we argue about how tall a sidewalk is? This is insanity.
People are passionate about this city,
That's right.
They have a lot to say.
Right, and there's a lot of lunatics out there, Avery, so be careful.
There's quite a few. All right. Well, you also graduated from Point Park when it was still considered a college.
Yes.
So what was your fondest or craziest memory during your experience here?
Okay, so I met my best friend Ed here on the first day of school. He was at WPPJ, the radio station, which in 1998 was just like a very smoky doom pit where you could still smoke in the buildings and people just hung out and skipped class. And so I met him, and we both had an interest in sports. We both had an interest in Pittsburgh. And probably the craziest moment was every year there's a rockathon. I don't know if WPPJ still does it, and they raise money for a charity. I think we raised money for the Early Learning Institute when we were here. And so Ed and I had a wrestling match in what was the Point Cafe. Is that still here?
Yeah, it's still here.
Yeah, so on the last night of Rockathon, him and I dressed up like professional wrestlers, and we wrestled through the Point Cafe, and Ed put me through a table. If you can imagine. Yes.
I'm sure that was a sight to see.
It was great, and now I guess you can't do that, as everyone says, every old person says, it's not the same anymore. Because, I mean, you just can't wrestle through Point Park and throw people through tables.
Unfortunately,
it's totally sold out. But that was a lot of fun, and I think the janitors thought it was really scary, and it seemed like people liked it, and we raised money. But that was probably the craziest. that was probably the craziest moment. Now, not a lot of professional wrestling matches going on in Point Park right now.
I unfortunately don't see any happening here anymore,
You should
but I
bring
wish
it
I could.
back.
I should do it myself.
You should bring it back.
And you were the one going through the table?
I did.
Were you okay? Like, what happened?
I survived. I'm here.
Okay.
I think I walk a little crooked because of it, but
Right.
anything for the fans, Avery. We're fan friendly, Ed and I, and
Absolutely.
so get us in front of an audience and we will perform.
You will do it.
Yeah, and leading up to it was like, I don't think we should do it. He'd go, and I think we should. I go, well, why don't I put you through the table? I go, no, I'm going to put you. And then finally, 27 drunk college kids and 3 janitors, I went through a table.
Yes. I'm sure that was very memorable. Yes, that's one you will never forget.
No, I'll share
right.
some pictures. I'll send them to you.
Perfect. I'd love to see them. All right, now tell us about your experiences on the B94 morning show and your journey into radio, and what was your most memorable moment from your radio career?
Well, radio is fun. It's not the same anymore. There's a lot of national syndicated shows that have taken out a lot of local radio. So there are some local channels that still produce programming, which is cool. My experience was kind of unique. I was in college. I interned with David Letterman in New York at the Letterman Show in their writers department. And so when I came back, I got an internship with what was at the time was called John Dave Bubba Shelley, which was the morning show. Obviously, they weren't broadcasting in Dallas, but a lot of people in Pittsburgh know who that is.
Yes.
And really, I just got into it because of Point Park and the WPPJ experience. And when I found out that you could get paid and make money by having fun and entertaining people, it spoke to me. So those people who ultimately hired me on that show are still very good friends of mine. And we had a lot of fun. Probably as you asked, what was the most memorable experience? We had a thing at Sandcastle, which is the water park, to give tickets to some concert. And people lived on a raft in the middle of the wave pool. And it was how long would you live there for? And whoever lived there the longest that could survive. And they had like a 10-minute pee break every hour. They could bring food in. But a guy lived on that raft for like 3 weeks.
Oh my gosh.
And he won tickets. I hope he had a good time at the show. If he's watching this, I don't remember his name, but I hope he had a great time. He's out there somewhere as the guy who survived the flotation. I hope he had a great time.
3 weeks.
Because I did. I enjoyed watching him suffer.
Now, how was the transition from radio to selling real estate, which is now your full-time job?
Oh my God, we're covering everything.
We are.
I was in Atlanta, so I did radio shows in Philly, DC, and Atlanta. So when I was fired in Atlanta, and everyone gets fired in radio, that's what happens.
It happens.
It happens. I moved back to Pittsburgh, and I kind of just started to do a radio show on social media, like an HGTV type version. My brother and I were doing like investments, and I said, why don't I get my real estate license?
Yeah.
And so I got it, and then started to kind of put the morning radio world, entertainment world together with real estate, and it somehow worked. So it was a little bit fake it till you make it, which is okay.
Yeah.
And it clicked, yeah. So for about 10 years in Pittsburgh, I've sold real estate as well. So
Amazing.
it's kind of fun. It's
I
not as fun
imagine-
as the flotation at Sandcastle, but it's fun. Yeah.
I imagine they go hand in hand,
Oh, of course.
communications, talking to people.
Yeah, I mean, I
Yes.
think everything is just, if you can communicate, I think you can do anything in the world. So good school to be in.
Helpful skill. It's great. Yeah,
Yeah.
Point Park. All
Yeah.
right. And what are the most unique items you would find in the home of Yinzer?
Oh, okay. Great question. And being an out-of-towner, this is important for you
I'm
to know.
curious to know.
If
Yeah.
you buy a house in Pittsburgh, there's certain things you have to get right away.
Okay.
Number one, a Yinzer basement, and that would be, do you have basements in Texas?
Not often.
But you're familiar
ever.
with them, right?
I'm familiar with what a basement
what a
is.
basement
yeah.
is, right? So these are finished basements, and they have pictures of all of your favorite Steelers, Pirates, Penguins everywhere. Your grandma
the sports.
soda an Afghan, knitted an Afghan that's black and gold, and that's where you keep all your Steeler junk. Except most Yinzers in their dining room normally have a picture of Bill Cowher or Chuck Noll, who both coached the Steelers. So you want to have that Steeler element on the first floor as well. And then, I mean, in your refrigerator, of course, you have your Isley's Chip Chop Ham, you have your Turner's Tea, and then upstairs, just probably hand-me-down furniture. I feel like every Yinzer will tell you why they got to hold on to their dad's nightstand from like 1942 because it means something.
Well, I'll make note of that for my future home in Pittsburgh.
Yes.
Yeah, I have
You're
to.
welcome here.
Thank you. All right, now you have a new show you're working on for One Bird called The Incline Show,
Yes.
where you interview famous Pittsburghers going up and down the incline. And I actually had the opportunity to work with you behind the scenes, and I personally thought it was a pretty crazy yet fun experience.
Okay, good.
Did you find it as chaotic as I did, and how do you manage to record a show on a moving set?
I had a really good time with it. I am kind of like a crazy perfectionist, so in the whole time I'm quiet because I'm like internalizing everything that's going on. But I think it's just, you kind of have to go with it. So you have a great moment, right? So iconically speaking, the Incline is probably as big as it gets in Pittsburgh.
Yes.
You know, we had some big celebrities there yesterday. We had Scott Blasey from the Clarks. We had Kurt Angle. We had the famous Romper Stomper from the Porta-Johns. And that's the one moment. So I think it's like in the way of like a professional athlete, like steps up at bat and has to breathe through it and deliver. It's kind of the same thing because I don't think you really get a second take on it. And so I thought the chaos was exciting. I thought it was very nerve-wracking to make sure things were looking good, but at the same point, it's just like, we got to go. What did you think?
I thought it was great. I thought it was, again, chaotic, yet...
Were you nervous being there?
Honestly, no. And it was great to meet the guests, and I think we all had a good time. I think it's going to turn out great, and people are going to love to see it.
It's weird that you're breaking into people's lives, right? So they're going to go to be on the Incline, have a great experience. And so my biggest fear is, even more than having a great product, is I don't want to ruin people's experience. Like it's unique, it's fun. They might only have one chance to do it with their schedules. Some, you know, in the case of a couple of the interviews, there were little kids there, and it's like I don't want to say something where a little kid will go, "Oh my God!" But mostly, I just don't want to take away from that experience. So I think we did a good job of not ruining people's days too much.
Absolutely.
And so maybe as the show catches on, people will go, "Oh, and they filmed that stupid show there when we were there." So that could be good. That's goals.
Yeah, hopefully maybe some fans will show up. Yeah, when we're
Could you imagine some groupies that would come to the Incline Show?
The dream.
Yeah,
Yes.
of course.
All right, now since you stand at a towering 6'6", is that correct?
That's
6'6".
right.
Okay.
How do you know all this? Who researched all this?
You did a deep dive.
Wow. Okay.
Well, what is your go-to response when someone points out your height?
Oh, of course. That's all. Well, you're tall as well.
I
How
am.
tall are you?
So I'm 6 foot.
6
so I'm
foot.
gonna make note of this. Whatever you say.
Well, I mean,
trust you.
when there's short people who will, you know, there's the old one where people go, "How's the weather up there?"
Yes, classic.
Yeah, I love that one, right? That's a great one. I never quit laughing when I hear that one. But normally I just try to be helpful. I was at Walmart the other night, and I turned, my son and I were there, he's 12 and my daughter's 14, and we're hiding from her. And we walked down one of the aisles, and there's two ladies there, and they give, maybe you've seen this too because you are tall as well. They're short.
Yeah.
That's okay. I feel like I can say that. As a tall person, they're short. And they both look over, and they have like this look in their eye, and I know that they can't reach whatever they're looking at. So I try to take it off the table. I don't want them to have to beg. I know that I am physically superior in height. I get it. So I just say, "Hi," and they'll go, "I'm sorry to ask." I'll go, "Do you need me to get something off the top shelf for you?" And they go, "Oh my God, yeah." And so it's great. It's great to be tall.
Yeah, it's a useful thing to have.
Absolutely. Tall is beautiful. My daughter's tall. I'm tall. You're tall. The world,
We are
tall
tall.
people are taking over.
We're taking over the nation.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
All right.
Get the memo. Tall people are here.
Yes. Now, my last question to you is, are there any exciting future projects or events that One Berg or the Incline Show has in the works for us to look forward to?
Well, the Incline Show is going to launch in November, which we're looking forward to. And we're working with some different advertisers to make that a weekly show. So right now we're planning more people to be on it. So I don't want to give away too many people, but there are some Hall of Famers that will be on the Incline, many more people of note. So the Incline will be the big thing taking us out of 2023. We're going to leave 23 on an incline and then hopefully not decline in 2024.
Yes.
Hopefully
Good
it's
metaphor.
an incline up that doesn't turn around. But if it does, we'll ride that too.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah.
This segment is called Photo of You, where we scour the internet and our guests' social media pages and hope to answer what was going on from their point of view in that moment. Are you ready, Brian?
I am. You stalked me and I'm ready.
I did. All right, so have you ever seen Game of Thrones?
I have not. Oh, God.
All right, well, I think we may have found your doppelganger. So this photo...
Come on.
So this is Hodor in the show, and we talked amongst the team, and we thought we saw some similarities.
Avery, we were having such a great conversation. We were hitting it off so well.
He is a tragic hero in the show, so
Okay.
it's a great comparison, I think.
I mean, I'm sure he's a great actor. We'll take it. There's also a guy who sells like a spice. It's called like Paul Popovich's like spices or something.
Okay.
Every person in the world, more than saying, "Are you tall?" Every person in the world sends me that and goes, "Have you seen this?" And I'm like, "Yes, I look like the spice guy." I know.
I'll definitely have to look that up after
I'll
this.
send it to you.
Okay, perfect. So our first official question for
Okay.
you from your social media pages
Okay.
is called Giant Turk Eagle.
Giant Turk
So,
Eagle.
yeah, tell me what was going on in this photo.
Here's the thing, Avery. When you're a guy like me who doesn't leave the house a lot, you get excited at the shopping center, right? So you go in, you go shopping. I don't leave my house a lot. So here I am. I'm out and about. And you've seen Supermarket Sweep, right?
I don't think I have.
Oh, my God. Well, we're going to do a segment on you. Why don't we turn it on Avery? Yes, Supermarket Sweep. You have 2 minutes at the end of this game show where you run through a supermarket and you take all the groceries that you can, and they have these inflatables that give you more money. And probably my daughter and I thought that looked like one of the inflatables from Supermarket Sweep. Shout out to Supermarket Sweep.
Nothing more thrilling than shopping for groceries. All right, so
Gotta watch it.
Yeah, I will. All right,
It's
so
a great show.
our second photo
Your
for you.
stagehand knows.
Our second photo is Zoltar is always right. So in this photo, what were you wishing for, Brian?
Oh, thank you for asking, Avery. That's in New York City, somewhere in Little Italy. My brother Pat is in the reflection. And of course, that's Zoltar from the famous Tom Hanks movie Big.
I have seen that, yes.
So I thought it was funny, since I'm big, that I would go, I wish to be big. Because I'm already big.
Yes.
How much regret do you have in this segment? What a major
None
regret.
whatsoever.
Okay.
All right, our third photo for you is titled Come On.
Okay. Okay.
Come on, cover girl.
Well, look how skinny I look in that. Boy, I have to like get back to the gym fast. Wow, I really need to get back in shape. That is at my niece Shelby's 1-year-old birthday party. She's adorable. Pull up a picture of her. Do we have it? No?
Not with us.
Oh, this
Sorry.
was just to humiliate me, not to show cute pictures of Shelby. But that was her 1-year-old birthday party, and everyone was posing with those balloons. So, put a little magazine cover, having some fun.
Might as well.
This is what we do. Did I mention I don't leave my house a lot?
I think you might have mentioned it once or twice.
Right, it's obvious.
All right, so our fourth photo for you is little Bo Peep.
Okay.
What is going on in this one? I'm really curious to know.
What is happening there? Okay, so that is Shelby's dad, my brother-in-law, Josh. And so that is a Halloween party. And you'll like this, Avery, because I mentioned Shelby, my niece. Before she was born, Mel, my sister-in-law, Josh's wife, was pregnant at this party. So I went as their unborn baby. How about that,
and
right?
were you wearing a Steelers shirt? I think I saw that.
I had a Steelers shirt. I'm glad you didn't pull out because I wore like a big diaper, so you'd see like my disgusting white legs, which no one wants to see. So thanks for just showing that picture.
Yes.
And work boots because it was great. I guess you had to be there. Well, I'm starting to feel like maybe you had to be at all these places.
I think so.
Yeah.
All right. Well, my fifth photo for you is titled Pumpkin Guts.
Pumpkin guts.
No,
Okay.
your kid here is holding an electric drill, I believe, so you're teaching him young.
I'm teaching him young. Yeah, that's my son, Cy. I think he's probably maybe like 9 or 10. And you know when like kids can't touch knives anymore? You don't have kids, but are you familiar like kids should not touch knives?
I'm familiar with that,
Okay, so they sell these like wimpy versions of knives that are rounded instead of sharp. And I just had enough. I couldn't watch this little 10-year-old with slippy, slimy pumpkin hands try to cut. So I said, let's just go get the drill bit and we'll take care of it.
Yeah, save some time.
Exactly.
Might as well.
And it blew up the kitchen. It was great. It was a big mess. We loved it. We were covered in guts. But yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, teach them young.
All right. Well, my final photo for you is called What's Cookin'?
Oh my God.
Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. How did that
Yes.
come to happen?
So that is in Philadelphia. I worked for a radio station called WMGK. And The Rock was he was out of his wrestling career, early into his acting career. And he was promoting, he was the Tooth Fairy, I think, in a movie.
Yes.
Yeah, classic, right? I think that won like several Oscars. But anyway, The Rock, so desperate to sell tickets to this movie, came to our radio station in Philly, and no one really knew who he was. I was the only one who watched wrestling. So the guy, John DeBella, who's like a legendary Philly radio guy, he was kind of interested in it, but I would just... I'll do anything to entertain people. So, like, he was wrestling Stone Cold Steve Austin. You know who that is?
I've heard the name.
Come on, Avery.
I'm
what
sorry.
Are you doing?
I'm
what
sorry.
research did you do besides my pictures? You didn't know I mentioned Stone Cold Steve Austin. So anyway, The Rock is a lot of fun, and he liked all the impressions. And you know, we interviewed Kurt Angle yesterday.
Yes.
The Rock has wrestled Kurt Angle many times.
Wow.
So I can put
Full
my
circle.
picture of Kurt, and The Rock.
That would be perfect.
Yes.
Yeah, come full circle.
And I have interviewed Stone Cold Steve Austin. So
You've done it all.
and now this show, and
Yes.
now POV.
No, you're here
I've
with us.
done it all.
All right. Well, that was my final photo
That's
for you.
it?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
I'm sorry
That was
to
a lot
end
of
it so
fun.
early. It was fun. I had a
I was
great
worried
time.
though when you said that you were going to stalk my social media. Like, there could have been worse. So
There,
I
there
appreciate
definitely could have
you.
been worse.
Thank
there
you for
was,
doing that.
Yes, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for chatting with us today.
course.
And you can catch Brian on Oneberg, and be sure to check out their new Incline Show coming soon. And thank you for streaming with us. Our show is produced here at the CMI with thanks from our partners at UView Television and the Point Park News Service. I'm Avery Jerina, and we hope to see you next time on POV.